Africa is set to almost double by 2050, raising fears that progress in fighting poverty and disease will be reversed. So, what can be done to ensure that poverty doesn't increase? And how can a disproportionately large youth population help drive progress? With me to discuss all of this and more is Bill Gates. Bill, are we at a turning point where regression is a real risk?
Well, first, the progress over the last several decades has been pretty amazing, both reducing childhood death, getting kids in school, getting agricultural productivity up, and reducing extreme poverty. But it's really Africa that still has a doubling in population to 2050 and probably another doubling to 2100, where you really have to do a good job if you're trying to get these extreme poverty rates down. So,
hello, my people. Today we are talking about the African population, and the African population growth is a hoax. Is a hoax, is a deception, because people that talk about our population most of the time are not Africans. You know what I mean? These people, they keep saying like Africa is, even they are now making the claim that in 2107 that Africa is going to be 40% of the entire world population. And currently, the estimation is that Africa is 18.3% of the world population right now. And Africa is 1.5 billion people living there. But these numbers have been thrown to us by mostly people that live outside Africa. You know what I mean? They don't. These people that are giving us this number, coming up, this number doesn't live in Africa. And why I say that is a hoax is that because when you look at even the median age of Africa, African population is 19 point something age. You know what I mean? And you see that the African population that I'm talking about the youth. The life expectancy in Africa is so small. Like in some countries are just 45 years. That's you live up to 45 years of age. Now this is what they expect you to live up to, which means that the death rate in Africa is high than they report. Because what they see is the birth rate in Africa. They don't record much of people dying in Africa, and people dies in a lot of African countries like flies. And what I'm telling you is what people in Africa are saying. That people are dying like they're dying like flies. In Africa, because they keep pushing that Africa is growing in population just to make Africa not to even grow. You know what I mean? This is the same thing they did to Africa when they draw the African map. They draw a tiny map for Africa. Just to say, oh, Africa, the landmass in Africa is just tiny like this. But in actuality, the African is massive. The African landmass is massive. It's bigger than Europe and America combined. They're not even half of Africa. In all these countries, we just go, even continent, we just go inside Africa. We still have enough land there. But now they are pushing this population hoax to, make our people, because some of their population are decreasing. They don't want Africa to be growing in population. They want to hype it up that you are growing, but in reality, you are not. Because if you travel to any country, you don't find old people there as much. That country is not good to live in. You can live in a country where you're not gonna get the old age. You know what I mean? So the population they are pushing, like in African growth, I think they are pushing something to make us not to grow in population, because population is power. People think like, oh, because some other people that are complaining that their birth rate is dropping, stuff like that. But population is not a disadvantage. It's an advantage. It's an edge But don't allow. We should not allow ourselves to be deceived. You know what I mean? We should by now, we should be able to think for ourselves. You know, because all this data they are pushing is not organic data, in my own opinion. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our video. Peace.